everybody, for being here today. We're Team Gatesman. It was definitely a very difficult challenge today, but we're really excited to show you what we did. Okay, so kind of generally looking what we were doing with the Mattress Factory today, our general challenge was we wanted to create awareness to establish the Mattress Factory shop and cafe as destinations that were separate from the museum itself. So basically just creating awareness to the fact that the cafe and the shop, they're not the same thing as the museum, and also they're this whole separate entity, and you can go there just with your friends to the North Shore. They have a whole different purpose, and just kind of advertising it as a different consumer experience, but still the same artistic page as the Mattress Factory. And we did all this under a $3,000 budget, and just kind of driving home the awareness of these two objectives.
So when we were thinking of the Mattress Factory, we really were trying to think of the big idea. We know that the cafe and shop are more than just add-ons to a world-class museum. Art's an ever-changing medium that knows no boundaries. And so the Mattress Factory delivers on more than just one sense. And so through this, we came to the idea that with the Mattress Factory, they have experiences on exhibit. And this is sort of the thing that delivers throughout all of our deliverables today, and everything through our tactics. That's what we really tried to focus on.
So as you said, kind of through all of our efforts, we just kept honing in on the idea of experience on exhibit, and from that we kind of got the idea of art is something that's meant to be shared, and that's kind of what we mean with the shop and the cafe. So you can share a meal with somebody after you go to the exhibit, and you can share it that way, or you can take home some of the Mattress Factory with you by buying a gift for somebody or buying something for yourself. So kind of just looking at the fact that it's a shareable community thing, whether it's Pittsburgh-wide or with North, and just kind of looking at those two mantras together and the fact that it's a whole experience. And just generally, just to raise awareness of these things, we focus on 3 objectives. One was looking at social media, things we can mess around with that with Instagram, also looking at adjustments we can make to the website regarding SEO, and also some promotional events.
So when we were looking at our target audience and the demographics, we got a basic idea from Census Reporter. We kind of looked at the area and really tried to figure out who they were. But we tried to really personify who we were targeting, and we came up with Hannah and Jack. So Hannah is 25 years old, she lives in the North Side, and she loves to share things. She loves being engaged through Instagram and social platforms, and that aligns with one of the desired demographics that we had, and we knew that she would be a key audience member that we wanted to target. And we also had Jack. He's 39, he's a little bit older, and he is, a father of 2 kids and has a wife, and they're really all about experience in a different regard. Less sort of active on digital, and they're more looking for experience, and we're really trying to target them in a different way than digital.
So one really important factor is the website and how people are going to find you and information regarding that. So one thing to think about is SEO, or search engine optimization. So basically all this means is Google directing your website to consumers, and how accessible is it, and how is Google pushing it, or other search engines. So just a couple things to consider on here, but one of the biggest is making sure that there's current information on wherever you post your company's information. Just as an example, for the entrances, you don't have to go in just to the museum, you can go in through the Jacksonia Street, knowing that you don't have to pay for admission to the museum to get into the cafe or to the shop. And also just some things to consider in the future, maybe for a phase 2 type thing, is just looking at, is your landing page friendly, looking at how the aesthetic is, but then also, is it user friendly in the sense of, can I navigate things? So is the tab for the cafe or the shop very clear? Is it something that you can find very easily, or do you have to type it in completely separately and maybe you won't find it in that case?
So this is an example of what we were trying to think of when we were thinking of redesigning the landing page and just making sure that the experience on the landing page is something that everyone would enjoy.
Okay, so tying into all that is making social media your exhibit. So the goal was to increase engagement and awareness online, and we would measure that success through the increase in followers, shares, and tags. So with a lot of museums and nonprofits, it can be hard to constantly put out content, so we wanted to give like a formulated plan to help initiate some more content on social media. So we came up with Tag Us Tuesdays, which would be reposted content from people who visit the cafe and the shop, and it would be putting on their content on exhibit versus just producing content for ourselves all the time. We would utilize influencers to start this campaign, so people with 1,000 to 10,000 followers. And the influencer package would include, they could do a pick too, so they can either post a photo from in the cafe and in the shop, or a photo outside as well. They have options, so they still have that creative liberty. In exchange, we would repost it to the over 20,000 followers that the museum has on social media, and then they would get a discount at the cafe or at the shop, depending on where they got their post from, which would then be where some of the budget would go into for that. And we have an example of an influencer right here, Elise Michaud. She is Pittsburgh local, she's a photographer. It reflects the age demographic that we want to increase. And she said this is something she would be interested in personally, and this is a photo she actually took at the Mattress Factory already. So then another way to produce content would be weekly posts on Thursday, and they could use a content schedule such as Hootsuite, so you don't have to get photos every single week, you can just dedicate some time to it. This would promote artists of the month, other artists, new exhibits, events, the menu, items in the shop, and again, we'd utilize hashtags just like the other post did to drive more traffic towards them. So then the first Thursday of every month, you could actually put the content in the hands of the artist of the month, and they could show their favorite items in the cafe, art in the store, and share their story and message, put themselves on exhibit, and it gives greater exposure to Pittsburgh artists.
Another element of the experiences on exhibit that we wanted to capture was events. Phase one would be to sort of capture on what the Mattress Factory already has in place. They have coffee dates and the garden party, which are two events that they carry out throughout the year. The garden party is probably their biggest event, and we just want to use those as ways to sort of cross-promote the cafe and the shop after going through new management and changes to really show that it's new and it's fresh and it's exciting. Phase two, which would incorporate a little bit more of the budget, would be to start incorporating things that would be unique to the cafe and the shop. The drink of the month would be sort of something thematic that would reflect what's going on for the exhibit at the Mattress Factory. And then the cooking class would be something that would be a great experience that would be on exhibit and would engage people within the community as well. It could occur on a monthly or bi-monthly basis and again reflect sort of the unique aspects of the exhibit that are happening at the time. We want to sort of encourage more media outreach and especially looking towards the older demographic that they might want to target. Not everyone is on social, so really utilizing sort of the current media that's here, whether that's through digital, print, or TV, that again will help showcase the new experiences that the Mattress Factory has to offer.
So a really important consideration is, are these efforts really making a difference? How can we track success and see what's really working? A really good application to use are Google applications, but especially Google Analytics. It kind of shows a lot of just tracking and clicks and where users are going and what you might need to improve on based on those trends.
We would also utilize social media insights, so followers, tags, and shares, and Instagram and Facebook have great applications that can show you your increase over a certain amount of time.
Earned media is really important in terms of exposure with the traditional media outlets, and that's something that we would want to keep an eye on as well.
Also sales from the cafe and shop over the time period of our campaign to see if there's been an increase. So that's all we have. Are there any questions from the room?
I have a question. So,
Okay.
When did you get the assignment? Did you just get it this morning?
Yes.
Yes.
I'll have to take it in one.
10 o'clock. Did you give any thought to what your I guess goals would be in terms of ultimately how many people you want to visit the shop, and any thinking to like the ROI, like what the shop may get in revenue, or
Yeah, I think
the museum as a kind of a
yeah.
filtering from the people that would go and see.
Yeah, definitely. I think, in the brief they were really sort of honing in on awareness. And while, trying to find the ROI on awareness is it's not the easiest thing to do. I think that, having these metrics in place is going to give us something tangible that we can sort of track over time. And I think those results will really point to how effective, our outreaches for gaining awareness was. So I think these in place are good for, solid metrics, but increasing awareness is what we're really trying to focus on in the beginning stages of this project.
Did you give any consideration to the hours that these particular businesses are open? It looks like they're kind of heavily lunchtime into early evening. Was that factored into your decision with influencers or when you would be deploying your media?
Yeah, definitely. The shop and the cafe, so they mostly mimic the hours the actual museum are open, and so, okay. We really try to think organically about that and see how that would be incorporated best. So everything that we sort of looked at, we were trying to do within those time limits. Definitely with the media in terms of like traditional outlets, that would be something that hopefully like in later phases we would be able to incorporate better. If they had like nighttime events or anything of that sort. But with what we have, we really try to incorporate it within the time frame that they're open. Okay, cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.